There you go, real surf. It's a little bit like every wave of vaccination works, but is it big enough? And so I think there's room here in the market for disappointment should vaccinations achieve their targets. But we have a plateau in hospitalizations, but then hospitalizations continue to move higher. So there is risk there in the markets that we could have some disappointment a little bit further down the track, both at a political, I guess, level, a health level, and certainly at a market level. So I think where the Australian stock market at the moment is still way too high for an economy that's already in recession. Everyone likes to wait for the data, but data is backward looking. Why wait for the data? It's pretty obvious Australia is in recession. It's going to be in negative growth in Q3, Q4, and might even have negative growth in Q1. This could be a protracted recession, not a quick dive, bounce back to some sort of new nirvana high. So markets are way overpriced. You've heard that from me before. What I wanted to say is in the written article today, I spoke a little bit about why you should be buying gold as a hedge of the potential for the Delta variant to become rather supply chain disruption all over again, all around the world. The other way you could sort of defend against that is, of course, also to sell oil. Oil's had that tremendous rally from below zero. You've heard me talk about that before. And in fact, when it was sort of after the day it was below zero, I said to clients at the time back then, take a small long position without any stops because it's going to be so volatile. I did tell them to sell at about $61 though, so a little bit too early. I think oil, I called this sell-off in oil, and I think it still has a lot further to go. Oil could fall to $55 a barrel, perhaps even $48 a barrel. If I'm right that this Delta surge is going to have a new profound impact on supply chains and economies around the world. And some countries that had said they're not going to go into lockdowns ever again, or states or regions around the world, are actually now talking about doing exactly that. That's how aggressive the Delta strain is. Please be aware that if you want full protection against the Delta strain, you're probably going to have personally a booster shot every 4 months to keep your protection level high enough. After 6 months, you've dropped to around 16% coverage or protection. That's what the Israeli studies show. Of course, our government's not talking about that too much at the moment. And Gladys dodged a question on the Israel experience today at her press conference. So vaccinations help, you should have them. They're not a silver bullet. And that's been my message from the very start. Overall, equity markets were a little bit firmer in the US on Friday, but nothing that was impressive on the day, but I think we're going to see those rallies fall back reasonably quickly. The Australian market didn't enjoy much of a rally at all, and it's probably going to fall back rather quickly here as well. The Australian dollar just remains under pressure. It might have the occasional rally, it remains under pressure, but I'm kind of switching a little bit at the moment to my two favorite trades being to buy gold, sell Australian stocks, and have a good look at oil as well, and also probably maintain your short Australian dollar positions. Might be a little bit choppy sideways, but the risk is to the downside. In the UK, we saw retail sales falling back into negative territory. They had a nice little bounce on the reopening of the economy, but that hasn't been sustained. We saw producer prices numbers in Germany, the highest in 25 years, which just goes to show that a massive wave, a little bit bigger than these ones, is on its way to the world in terms of inflation. That too will eat away at the very fabric and foundations of the strong economic period that we'd experienced over the previous 15 to 20 years. That's finished. It's not coming back, I'm sorry. But that's okay, because you can still have good levels of growth, good levels of prosperity, even in a more average kind of growth path, which is what the world is most likely going to experience going forward, which is another reason for why maybe consider selling oil, because it's got so much sort of bullish global economic expectations in it. Thanks very much. Clifford Bennett, Chief Economist, ACY Securities.